Hi guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing another Which One Is Better. I've done several of these on my channel at this point. These are my favorite type of videos to film. So I will have my playlist link down below in case you guys are interested and want to get caught up. But the two books that we're going to be talking about today are both adult romance. I don't believe that I've talked about any romance in this format, so this was a fun one. But the two books that I'm going to be talking about are The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberly and Austin Siegmund-Broka, and then Beach Read by Emily Henry. So just like with the other videos, I will start off by giving you guys a brief synopsis over the two books. I will let you guys know the similarities, the differences. I will tell you guys which one I thought was better and then give my reasons why. So we will go ahead and get started. So first up we have is Beach Read by Emily Henry. So this one follows our main character by the name of January. At the beginning of the story, we find out that she is basically down on her luck. She's broke. She's struggling to write her next romance novel because she is a romance author. And she just found out that her father passed away. Not only did he pass away, but she found out some things in his personal life, and she found out about this beach house that she did not even know her father owned. So after his passing, she decides that she's going to try and get herself together, go to this beach house, get it prepared to sell, and then hopefully be able to write her next big romance novel. While she's there, she finds out that her next door neighbor is Gus, and both Gus and January had went to college together. She had a bit of a crush on him, but they ended up forming a rivalry with each other, and so they aren't necessarily the best of friends. We do learn that Gus is dealing with an upcoming divorce that is really bothering him. Over the course of a few days, in some conversations that they have, they both find out that each of them are struggling to write their next book. So Gus is a literary fiction writer, and they decide that they will swap genres. So instead of him writing literary fiction, he's going to write romance. Instead of her writing romance, she is going to write literary fiction. So to help with the inspiration for their books, they decide that they're going to go on like these little dates. So she is going to take Gus on these like cutesy, fun type of dates to give him some encouragement, some help with writing his romance book. And then he is going to take her on these interviews that he was actually going to be conducting for his upcoming book. She can now get some inspiration from those interviews for her book. So we are just following both of them as they are trying to write their next big book. She is dealing with some information that she found out about her father. He is dealing with his upcoming divorce. And with all of that going on, they are trying to fight the feelings that they are slowly starting to develop for each other. So then next we have The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberly and Austin Siegmund-Broka. So in this one, 4 years prior, Katrina and Nathan had co-authored this book. It was really popular. They sold millions of copies. They made a lot of money. But during the time that they were writing this book together, they would go on these retreats. So they would go to a house, spend some time together so that they can actually write the story and bounce ideas off of each other. During that time, Nathan was married, and so rumors started to swirl that him and Katrina had an affair. Now in present day, so 4 years after that, we learned that Katrina has not written a book since that time that she and Nathan wrote that book together. And her fiance, who was also her agent, tells her, you guys might need to go ahead and write that next book, not only because you guys have a contract to do one more book, but we are in some financial trouble, and if you guys can write another good book and sell a lot of copies, we can get out of this financial situation that we're in. So then Nathan, in present day, he is struggling with the sales of a book that he just published. And not only that, he is struggling with people trying to publish the next book that he is currently writing. So his agent suggests that, yeah, it's probably time that you and Katrina go ahead and write that last book that you guys need to write in order to fulfill your contract. So they both hesitantly agree to write this last book. They go out to Katrina's beach house that she has out in Florida so that they can hurry up and write it. They agree that it'll only take them about 2 months. While they're there, not only are they trying to write this book, but they are also trying to fight the feelings that they have slowly started to develop for each other over the course of these 2 months. So we'll start off with the similarities between the two books. And one of the big ones is that they're all authors. So we have some romance authors, which would include Katrina, Nathan, and January. And then Gus is over here by himself being a literary fiction author. So then we have the situation of them being in close proximity with each other in order to write their books. So Nathan and Katrina actually have to be together in order to write their books, while January and Gus don't necessarily have to be around each other. They are, because January needs to figure out how to sell her father's house that she didn't know about. So then in regards to their love lives, they're all kind of dealing with some similar issues. Gus and Nathan are dealing with divorce. So we have Gus who's dealing with his upcoming divorce, and then Nathan who is dealing with the aftermath of his divorce. And then as far as the women, both of them kind of weren't in the best relationships. January is still dealing with the effects of how she broke up with her previous partner. And then we have Katrina, who is currently in her relationship, but he's a douche. And she finds out that he might not be with her for the best reasons. And so as far as the differences between the two books, so in Beach Read, they're both trying to write two different books. And then in the Roughest Draft, they are co-authoring a book. And then in the Roughest Draft, these characters are technically well off. They don't necessarily need to be writing these books in order to make money. They already have money. But in Beach Read, both of these characters are down on their luck. They're struggling writing their next book and they need some money. So those are like the main similarities and differences between both of the books. Now, as far as which one of these I enjoyed better than the other one, I unfortunately gave both of these books a 2 stars. When it comes to Beach Read, this was not necessarily a book of Emily Henry's that I wanted to read. It didn't really interest me to begin with, and the only reason why I decided to go ahead and pick this up is because when I ran across the Roughest Draft, when I was looking through reviews on Goodreads, not everyone, but a lot of people were saying that if you really enjoy the Roughest Draft, oh, you'll love Beach Read by Emily Henry. And then the idea came into my head, well, if they're that similar, why not read them both? But unfortunately, I gave them both a 2 stars. 2 stars for different reasons, but I didn't really care for either one of these. So we'll just go ahead and talk about Beach Read first. So in Beach Read, the things that I did like about this book was just learning about January and her relationship that she had with her father. I mentioned that she learned some things about her father after he had passed away. And so I really liked getting the background on that and seeing how it affected January. I also liked anytime that January and Gus were talking about writing, their writing process, the stories that they were writing. I loved listening to all of that. There was also just one scene in here between January and Gus that I really enjoyed. But that leads me into my dislikes. I didn't really care about January or Gus or them as a couple. I could have cared less if they would have gotten together. I just didn't really feel anything for them, which sucks when it comes to romance because you do want to be invested in these characters' lives, but I just didn't find anything interesting about them. Also, my thing with Emily Henry books that I have found that I have always wanted more is I just want to hear more from the guy's perspective. These are usually only written from one perspective. It's the woman, but I want to hear more about Gus and what Gus went through and why this divorce is really eating him up. Like, I just want to know how he's feeling about everything that's going on. I wish there were dual perspectives in Emily Henry's book, at least one from the guy and one from the woman, so that we could see both sides of the story. I did mention that I liked January as far as us getting the story between her and her father and their relationship. I just wish that there was more of that. I could have read more of that and less about her relationship that she was forming with Gus. And then the strangest thing that I thought about this book that I didn't notice until I was about halfway through is that we don't talk about the beach that much. It's called Beach Read. They're supposed to be at the beach. And about halfway through, I forgot that they were supposed to be at a beach. I just didn't get like a beach feel from this book. And it would have been nice for them to describe the beach more, for them to go to the beach more, do something more about the beach if you're gonna call this Beach Read. So yeah, this one just unfortunately did not work out for me. I know this is a favorite amongst like Emily Henry fans, but I just did not connect to the story. And I kind of knew that going in, but I at least thought I was gonna rate it higher than a 2. But yeah, this one just did not work out for me. So then in the Roughest Draft, I really did like the forced close proximity trope in this one. I just felt like it worked better. There was better reasoning for them to have to be around each other. I also liked the flashback chapters. So in this one, we get the flashback chapters to 4 years prior of when they wrote that first book together. And then over the course of the story, you learn how it was for them working together. We learn about the rumors, you know, that were spreading about them, and then you ultimately learn why they didn't talk to each other after that first book until they had to write this next book. And so I really liked the flashback chapters. In my opinion, I would have rather just read those, but here we are. And then I just thought the last half of the book just was a lot faster paced. A lot more happened between the two characters. I just love them talking about what happened the last time they wrote together. And in the last half of the book, we started to find out all of that information in regards to what happened during that time, like really what led up to them no longer working together. So I just really liked that. And then as far as my dislikes for this book, I just thought the first half of the book was really slow. It was kind of boring. I almost DNF'd at one point. And then I also didn't really connect with any of these characters either. Again, just like with Beach Read, I could care less on whether or not these characters would have gotten together. I already said this, but I would have rather just stayed in those flashback chapters because I felt like their relationship just seemed more genuine back then than what was being portrayed to us in the present. And so the characters just overall just did not work for me. And if I'm gonna read a romance, I need to be invested in the characters to even care about their relationship. So ultimately, this one just didn't work out for me either. So with that being said, neither one of these books really worked out for me in the end. I would say that if you are an Emily Henry fan and you have not checked out the Beach Read, give it a shot. You might enjoy it way more than I did. Like I said, that book is a favorite out of Emily Henry's adult romance books, so you should still give it a try. And then as far as the Roughest Draft, I would also agree with everyone else. If you really enjoyed Beach Read, then you would really enjoy the Roughest Draft. Now, if you read either one of these and you didn't really care for it, I would say you probably wouldn't like the other one either because they are really similar. So that is all that I have for you guys. Again, I will leave my playlist link down below in case you guys are interested and want to get caught up on my other videos. But other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye.